local all morning. This is Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
And first at 6 o'clock, while most of you were asleep, there was a total lunar eclipse. The so-called blood moon was visible across North and South America and parts of Africa and Europe. Thing is, don't feel bad if you missed it. The weather wasn't exactly great to see it up here, but they got a clear view in Buenos Aires, Argentina, which is where this video was taken. Good morning. Thank you for joining us here at 6 o'clock on this Friday. I'm Tim Lammers. Rachel Piscatelli joins us with the forecast on what has been a cloudy morning, and you were saying it was mostly cloudy at the time of the eclipse, which was what, around like 2 or 3 a.m. today,
yeah,
right?
I think it began around 2:30 this morning, wrapped up around 3:30 this morning. And the further north and west you went, the better opportunity you did have to see the lunar eclipse. Otherwise, if you were in central and southeastern areas, it was probably hard, if not visible at all for you. 55 degrees yesterday over in Hartford. It was 48 in New Haven, 46 in Groton. Overall, a nice day. Now we have the clouds, and it's still a nice morning at 38 degrees over in Hartford. Some of us are waking up in the 40s this morning. It's 34 in Torrington and up around 40 degrees now in Groton. Take a look at the wind speeds. They're anywhere from about 3 to 8 miles per hour. And moving forward, not a lot of wind is expected today, which will be quite nice. So we'll be able to enjoy the 60s that are on the way. So it's mostly cloudy now, but we are expecting those clouds to decrease later on. 57 for the ride home for the kids at the bus stop. There will be plenty of hours for them to enjoy the outdoors. 58 degrees in Southington. Plan for recess to be outside as well. Southeastern Connecticut in the lower to middle 50s. So it will be a nice day. Overall, the weekend, not bad. We do have more clouds expected throughout. It's still going to be mild. A mainly dry day for Saturday. Also for Sunday, too. There could be a few showers around through the afternoon, but there's a better chance for heavy soaking rain as we approach Sunday night into first thing Monday. We'll have more details on that coming up in just a bit. Out the door this morning, heads up for East Hartford travelers. If you typically travel westbound Route 2, there is a crash out by exit 5 and 4 this morning that is blocking the right lane. A live look outside showing you that traffic is slow to get around this now. One vehicle was involved in it. It does look like the vehicle went into the guardrail, so the shoulder and the right lane block. We'll let you know when that clears. Tim.
Man's unimaginable suffering over the course of 2 decades is just a reminder of the darkness that does exist in our world. Our hearts and our prayers go out to him.
That was Waterbury's mayor. He was talking about a man who told police he had been held captive for 20 years. And police said the man found a way to save himself by setting a fire in his own bedroom. Well, yesterday, officers gave more insight into the man's living conditions over the past 2 decades, and we just want to warn you ahead of time. It might be hard for some of you to hear the details. Now, here's what we know so far. 56-year-old Kimberly Sullivan there in the center of your screen. She was arrested Wednesday. She's been accused of locking her 32-year-old stepson in a small room for most of his days over the last 20-plus years. When police first met that man, they said he wasn't even 70 pounds, even though he was 5'9". They said he was very dirty, that his hair was matted, his teeth were rotten. The man told them he had to drink from a toilet sometimes and that there was always a lock on the outside of his room. Detectives said they took photos of the lock when they searched the home.
That room did have exterior locks on it and a number of different styles of exterior locks. As was explained during an interview with the victim throughout the years, it appeared that the locks increased in security levels as time progressed.
Sullivan's lawyer told Fox 61 that Sullivan is maintaining her innocence and is claiming she never locked the man in a room. She did post bail yesterday and is expected to face a judge later this month. But as the investigation continues, state officials have said they want answers. Fox 61's Jamel Johnson spoke with a lawmaker who offered some insight into where the situation may have gone wrong.
This Waterbury home behind me was set on fire in February, but it wouldn't be until later when reports surfaced about a man being locked up inside the house for over 2 decades. The alleged abuse from his stepmother started much earlier than that, and that's why officials like Senator Jason Perillo are asking the question, how does this go on for so long? The accused kidnapper in question is 56-year-old Kimberly Sullivan, the stepmom of the man who escaped. Reports detail that since a child, the man was held captive, starved, and was subject to other forms of abuse. As a child, it said that he would go through trash to find food and also beg and steal foods and drinks at school. His behavior prompted the school to notify DCF. We reached out to DCF for comment. They sent us back a statement saying, quote, "The Department of Children and Families has looked extensively at our current and historical databases and to date have been unable to locate any records pertaining to this family nor any records connected to the names of others who have indicated they made reports to our department." In accordance with state regulation, it should also be noted that reports of neglect and abuse that have been investigated and not sustained are expunged 5 years after completion of the investigation.
The school administrators and the teachers did their job, right? They identified that there was a problem here and they suspected it was at home. Then the ball's in DCF's court to do their due diligence and make sure that the kid is safe. And that obviously didn't happen here. The big question is, what is DCF doing to make sure that they don't walk up to a house, feel that things are going okay, when in reality they're not?
Sullivan and her attorney continue to maintain her innocence and fully expect the case to go to trial. In Waterbury, Jamel Johnson, Fox 61.
Jamel, thank you. Of course, Kimberly Sullivan needs to be presumed innocent until we see the results of her trial. But the man was in such poor shape physically that something has obviously gone wrong here for a long time for things to have ever gotten that bad. Well, later this morning, Fox 61's Keith McGilvery will sit down with an attorney to ask about these types of cases, as rare as they are. It's coming up at 7:30 in about 90 minutes. And then at 9:30, we'll take a look at the long-term impacts of long-term captivity and isolation. Keith will sit down with The Village's Senior Director of Adult Services to find out how these situations can affect somebody socially and emotionally. Our coverage continues on Fox 61 Plus. You can go there to find yesterday's full press conference with Waterbury Police. Download Fox 61 Plus on your TV to stream it for free. Our digital team also has extended coverage on our website, fox61.com, and on our free news app, which you can get by scanning that QR code on your screen. Go there to find our full write-up of what police reported finding in Kimberly Sullivan's home after that fire last month. Well, Connecticut is part of a multi-state lawsuit against the White House over the dismantling of the U.S. Department of Education. That department employs more than 4,000 people, but is planning on soon cutting that number in half. Fox 61's Kay Pattyfoot spoke with experts, parents, and teachers about the impact this could have on our state.
Parents and teachers we spoke with say they are concerned after hearing the cuts to the Department of Education. They're worried about the federal grants the state receives.
I don't think that getting rid of the Department of Ed is not a big deal. I think it's a very big deal.
Jennifer Sreeben-Pobb is a mom of 3, and her 2 oldest children are on IEPs, which is an individualized education program.
So I'm concerned about the impact to IDEA. So that's the act that protects children with learning disabilities and allows them to have equal access to education.
Lindsay Cook is a mom and educator and worries for Title I schools in our state.
Yeah, I think that the schools that are already struggling and schools located in underserved communities will likely be the ones most severely impacted by these type of cuts. So unfortunately, it's taking resources away from the kids and the schools that probably need it the most.
According to a Connecticut State Department of Education spokesperson, quote, "We have not had any funding interruptions for any of the federal programs administered by the Federal Department of Education." On Wednesday, President Trump reiterated his plan for education, saying it is better suited in the hands of the individual states. Aaron Boxer, a former special education teacher and the CEO of Diversified Education Services, believes this is a beneficial move.
Cutting the DOE's workforce isn't about pulling teachers out of the classrooms. It's about cutting federal red tape that forces schools to focus on compliance more than actual teaching. So if anything, it gives Connecticut the opportunity to control its own education dollars instead of letting Washington dictate how our schools operate in Connecticut.
But Connecticut Education Association President Kate Diaz disagrees, saying the cuts to the DOE will impact the Federal Student Aid Program, or FAFSA.
You know, we are one glitch away from people's student loans evaporating and creating confusion around what's my repayment structure now? Where do I send my money? How do I do this appropriately? So this is not something we can afford to get wrong.
Diaz says when it comes to student loans, if you have them, you should download any necessary documents and stash them away. You should also stay on top of how much money you owe. In Hartford, Kate Pattyfoot, Fox 61.
All right, Kate, thank you. It is 6:10 a.m. on this Friday, deep into March now. Let's talk about the Big East tournament. The UConn men pulled out a win against Villanova last night in New York City in the Big East quarterfinal. The final was 73-56, but UConn had to make a comeback in the second half to do it. Alex Karaban was the spark there in the second half, scoring most of his 18 points in the second frame. He had 9 rebounds and 6 assists as well. So UConn is now 23-9. Projected to be about an 8 seed, but a couple more wins in the Big East tournament could go a long way to improving their seed. They're going to face Creighton tonight in the semifinals. Up in Stores, fans say they're excited. They think UConn can make it a 3rd straight championship this year.
100%, no doubt. No doubt in my mind. We've got a mentality that is unbeatable, so I believe in my Huskies.
I think it's awesome. They've worked hard for what they've done, and it's cool being a part of a school that has so much school pride in our basketball team.
I think they got it handled. Like, they don't disappoint usually, so I trust them.
Look, UConn has won an NCAA tournament as an 8 seed before, so it's happened. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's see if they can win the Big East tournament first. The semifinals are tonight on Fox 61. Coverage starts at 6:30. St. John's plays Marquette, and then UConn and Creighton will play at 9 o'clock. And then after that game, you got the Fox 61 News at 10. Well, in court, State Representative Andre Bumgardner is expected to be arraigned today on charges of DUI and reckless driving. He was arrested earlier this month by Groton Town Police on the Gold Star Highway. Police said he failed 3 separate field sobriety tests, and they also said a breathalyzer showed that Bumgardner's blood alcohol level was more than double the legal limit. The Speaker of the House said Representative Bumgardner has been suspended from all committee and leadership assignments for now and until further notice.